finishing putting this roster together for 23?
We're, I would say, close. Obviously, some high school prospects that we're still recruiting right now. The portal window has closed, but certainly I don't think you're ever done there. There'll be another window at the end of spring practice, but I'd say we're close. But certainly, you guys know there's still some positions that we have critical needs at that we're not done solidifying yet.
Shane, have you guys figured out what Greg's role is going to be moving forward yet?
Right now, we haven't talked about responsibilities and all that. I mean, he's still going to be heavily involved with what we do. I told him I wanted him to stay around. To me, we've got two great offensive line coaches in Lonnie and Ad, and happy to have both of them here. They both are on the same page and work great together. Ad's phenomenal with recruits, phenomenal as a coach. Certainly wanted him to get his health in order, and he's well on his way to doing that. And a lot of that too, Ben, is there's a lot of talk with the NCAA and how analysts may be viewed as far as what they can and can't do. So I think his role is still to be determined, but he'll be heavily involved with everything that we're doing on and off the field.
How much, Shane, when you look at the momentum generated by the Rams over Tennessee and Clemson, an impressive game performance, how does that compare to last year?
I don't want to. Different in the sense of who we beat in the regular season. Obviously, there was a lot of momentum at the end of last season, Rick, beating Auburn and Florida, going to a bowl, then beating North Carolina up in the bowl game. That was huge for us from a momentum standpoint. But then, certainly when you go into year two, there's still questions that people have. And then, after, obviously, the way we played down in Gainesville that night, to come back and finish the season like we did with 2 top 10 wins, if anything, that's just solidified what we're doing, and people whose eyes weren't open already certainly were opened after what we did in the last 2 regular season games.
You had Juice announcements coming back and Spencer right after that. Just how good was it to have both those guys invest more?
Yeah, that was huge. I feel like the season is busy, but the minute the season ends is probably the busiest time of the year, and I still don't feel like I've slowed down since the bowl game. But had some great communication and conversations with Spencer and Juice and their families, and along with Coach Loggins and Coach Stepp. They did a great job. Everybody did. And like I said all along, just wanted to lay it out for those guys, their options, and wanted to support them in whatever way, whatever decision they made. And thankful that they chose to stay here at Carolina, and it adds to the energy that we already created with the end of the season. That just increases it with those 2 guys coming back. So
What did you? Okay.
Just what are the impressions then with Dowell from the team perspective and on the recruiting trail since you've been hired?
And the what?
And the recruiting trail.
Dowell's been amazing. I know we haven't played a game yet, but he's been even better than I thought he would be. I'm not just saying that. He's done it. He's a great relationship person. You guys will continue to get to know him, but he does a great job of building relationships with people. He did an awesome job. He spent a lot of time talking to Spencer and Juice and all of our players, and I would say that he was key in those guys coming back. And then he's been kind of just going with me everywhere we go recruiting, just kind of he and I getting talking and talking about the offense and him getting to know recruits. He was with Clayton and Torian and I going to see defensive players over in Georgia this past week, and he's been amazing on the recruiting trail. Like coming out of homes and high schools, you're listening to him talk to guys. I've been really, really impressed and really excited that he's here.
Shane, there were 3 guys that were honored on senior day that could come back: Manos, Campbell, and Terrell. Will those guys be with the team this year?
Still to be determined. I don't want to speak for them. I think for Wyatt and Hank, I think they've decided to go on to what's next. And then I believe the same with Chad. They're not involved in our workouts right now, but great young men, and want to certainly wish them well for everything they did for Gamecock football as well.
And get Jordan Strawn anywhere on his appeal if he'll be able to come back?
We're full speed ahead on him, and have every anticipation that he'll be playing for us. He's involved in workouts right now, and knock on wood, I think we're good there.
Are you concerned about the defensive end position?
Yes.
And what are you doing to solve it?
Recruiting. So we've got a bunch of prospects here today. Obviously, need some of those guys to graduate high school early so they can get here in the fall. Certainly, that's one of the critical positions that we have, and and that's why we're called coaches. We've got to recruit, and we've got to develop, and the recruiting prior to Sterling Lucas getting here, frankly, wasn't what it needed to be just from an overall standpoint. It needed to be better. And Sterling's done an amazing job of recruiting. We've got 2 great young men that we have high hopes for that got honored out there just now in Montague and Desmond. And but they're true freshmen as well. But, certainly there's guys that Jordan Strong coming back, Terrell Dawkins coming back, Tyreek Johnson coming back, Brian Thomas, another year for him. It's time for those guys to take another step. And I say that, Phil, yes, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the depth. You saw we lost Jordan Strong to an ACL in game 2. We lost Dawkins to a knee injury. So we rotate those guys in, and we need more than 2 guys at that position. So that's something that we've got to continue to look at and evaluate. We like the guys that we have, but we need to add more depth to that room for sure.
Could there be a big-time transfer kind of hanging out there?
There's certainly some great guys out there that can rush the passer, and I'd say there's a lot of schools that are after those guys. And if there's a great pass rusher out there, certainly we want to do everything we can to get guys like that here.
You mentioned Dowell. Just how involved was he in terms of getting Spencer back, and what was kind of his pitch, and I guess what were those conversations kind of like?
That's probably a better question for Spencer or Dowell, because I really wasn't in them. They spent a lot of time talking, and I think it was Spencer doing his research on Dowell doing his, talking to Spencer and getting to know each other and talking about the offense, but really just getting to know each other on a personal basis, because they're going to spend obviously a ton of time together. And Spencer, after the bowl game, I don't think he ever went back to Arizona. I think he came back from Jacksonville and was here all week, and before we started class, and same thing with Juice as well. So those guys were able to spend a lot of time getting to know each other, and he was instrumental in those guys coming back. They got to believe in him as a coach and as a person, and as and what we're going to do offensively also.
And just to clarify, the plan is for Greg to be on staff 2023. Just
Oh,
to make sure
absolutely.
that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying after experiencing,
He's here recruiting his butt off today right now.
After experiencing the new recruiting calendar with how things went, started December through that month, and just the whole landscape, how it is now. What are your thoughts about it, and what do you think needs to change?
Oh man, that's probably a separate media session. December was really, 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 really tough for a lot of reasons. I know why we pushed back signing day. It was because we finished the season on Saturday, and then we had a week of being in the office with guys, our own team, before we hit the road recruiting. So therefore, signing day was pushed back. I understand why they did that, and wasn't against that. I love that part of it on the front end. I didn't love it on the back end, where signing day is 4 days before Christmas, 2 days before you break for Christmas for your football team in a bowl game, and you got the transfer portal going on, and you're trying to host guys on visits and things like that. So it was just it was a lot. We all dealt with it. We did the best we could. There were some good things out of it. There were some not so good things out of it, and certainly, we've got some SEC head coaches meetings coming up here in a few weeks, and I'm sure that'll be something that we discuss as well. We're always trying to find ways to make it better, and I think we can.
You feel like your voice is getting louder in those meetings? I mean, you're still a young guy, but I mean, do they listen to you? Do you get some attention?
You'd have to ask them. I sit there and there's a lot of guys that have won a lot more football games in those rooms than me, and have won championships. And certainly I'm one of those guys that just doesn't want to talk, Phil, to hear myself talk. I mean, I'm confident in speaking up if I feel like I have something to say. But I'm not one of those guys that's going to keep us in there. A lot of those head coaches that you guys think would do all the talking, they don't. They never say a word in there. And then some of the guys y'all probably think would never talk, do a lot of the talking. And it's very good, though, and Commissioner Sankey does a great job of running those meetings as well.
You got any traction on your preseason pitch? Getting a preseason for college football?
No, I haven't. That may be something. That may be something that I bring up about a preseason game against another team.
Are you going to stand on the table for any issue that's really important with the SEC meetings?
Absolutely, yeah. If there was anything that, ultimately my job as the head coach is to always do what's best for the SEC, but the South Carolina football programs. And certainly, if I felt strongly about something in regards to our program, our university, absolutely. Whether
You feel strongly about something this year?
I do, but always want to do what's best for our university and our program, and I also have leadership above me as well that I answer to, and there's a great respect, and I know what you guys are getting at. There's been great communication with my bosses and people here at this university about any situation that's out there, and I appreciate the people I work for and their honesty and transparency as well.
I don't think we've talked to you since you got the extension. I guess just what was that like, and I guess working through that.
Honored, blessed, humbled that the university has confidence in me and felt confident enough in me to give me a contract extension, and then to also take care of our coaches and staff as well in a lot of ways. We had coaches on this staff that had opportunities to go to other programs and chose to stay, and I appreciate the commitment from our university to help us on that as well. And like I said before, I'm honored to be the head coach here, and it's been a great 2 years, and appreciate the contract extension was a process. It wasn't just a slam dunk in a week. I mean, this has been something that's been going on for a while, and obviously we're really, really humbled that it got taken care of, and I realize how fortunate I am to be in this position, and certainly have a lot of work to do, but proud of what we've done, and grateful for the support of the people here at this university.